Hey everybody, my name is Derek Pascarella, otherwise known as ateam, and you have successfully gotten your Dreamcast connected to the internet and you are streaming the SEGA Lounge.
Imagine that. How many people do actually listen to the Sega Lounge using their Dreamcast connection, their Dreamcast
Zero.
browser? Don't say that.
It's
Don't just kill my dreams.
not possible. I mean, it is possible, but you have to go out of your way. You have to get the clip, or get the episode, encode it to like an ADX, and then put it onto a disk image, and either burn it and listen to it locally, or you'd have to use an ODE and do it that way. So there's a limit to how much you can actually buffer and stream. I don't remember what it is, but it's a limit.
Welcome to the Sega Lounge, where we celebrate our love for all things Sega, including the games, the music, and the community. I'm your host, KC. Join me as I talk to different guests and learn more about their projects and passion for Sega. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 220 of the Sega Lounge. As we go deeper into the month of May, our 10th anniversary celebrations continue, so I wanted to start with a few words about that. Firstly, you can grab some of our 10th anniversary merch at a discounted price for the whole month right from our website by going to thesegalounge.com/support. All items look quite good, and of course, the non-anniversary stuff does too. Shout out to our friend Manuel Garcia Melgar, by the way, for designing our anniversary logo. Secondly, we're working on a special anniversary episode, which will go live at the end of the month, so please look forward to that. That said, our 10th anniversary is a very good time to revisit some of our previous shows, which you can obviously do on your podcast app of choice, like Terra Player, but also on our website. A nice way to find an episode you like is to browse our guests section and look for people who've been on the show before. And remember to let me know on social media if you find a particular episode that you enjoy. Well then, it is now time to discuss this week's show. This week, Derek Pascarella, aka ateam, joins me on the Sega Lounge. Derek's been working on translating into English games that were previously only available in the Japanese language, with a focus on ones released for Sega systems. A Sega fan with a great sense of humor, Derek shares how he fell in love with the brand and how he ended up leading teams of passionate and talented fans in bringing Japanese games to Western audiences. So welcome, Derek. Welcome to the Sega Lounge. Nice to have you here.
And so nice to be here. What a privilege and a pleasure. I'm thrilled to be on with you.
I'm the privileged one here. I'm really excited to have this chat with you. It's been a long time coming, and I feel like it's like an honor because I have to say I'm a really big fan of your work. Not just the work itself, the quality of the work, and we'll get into that, but the fact that you put in the time and the effort and into translating these games. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I just wanted to say that I really appreciate what you do, though.
Well, thank you. Time and effort, definitely a good way to describe it, but all out of love. That's why I do it.
Yeah, for sure. So you described yourself for our little bio guest page, or the bio on our guest page. You said you were a Sega enthusiast and retro game lover. So would you like to tell us how the enthusiasm with Sega began?
Oh, I'd be happy to. So, I mean, I guess got to go back to the beginning. What's that movie? There's only one way to tell this story, but I warn you, I have to go back to the beginning. No, I'll keep it brief. When I was a little kid, like all kids, you see video games, you think they're the coolest thing ever. So my father actually had an Intellivision. with the number pad and the little rotary dial spin there, and I think that's what it was, or it may have just been directional pad. I can't remember. Long story short, I loved the hell out of that thing, playing baseball, and I can't believe I'm forgetting what's the game where you're an Indiana Jones like guy and you're running around jumping over. Oh man. Anyway, my future
Um,
self. As soon as we stop recording, David, I'm going to say I can't.
it's
Is
like
it
Pitfall,
Pitfall?
right? Yeah, yeah.
Pitfall. There you
That's the
go.
one that came to mind. Yeah, yeah. I didn't know if it was on the in television.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that thing made it to just about everything that plugs into a wall. Pitfall saw a port, but eventually, after like begging and begging, my parents got me a Sega Genesis, aka Mega Drive, and this was when the Model 2 had already been readily available with the pack-in game of Sonic, which was a wise move on Sega's part.
Hmm.
And I fell so in love with that machine that, I mean, after that it was the Game Gear, and then I begged for the Mega CD, the Sega CD. I didn't get it until years and years later, but I eventually did get a Saturn and the Dreamcast on 99.99 here in North America was the first machine that I ever used my own money to pre-order.
Same.
And over those years, yeah, it was that time in life. You just had
Yeah.
just enough autonomy to make decisions and spend a few bucks, and it was a special time. But yeah, David, that's really where it started as a kid. There, just I fell so in love with the just that Sega brand, and it's not falling in love with the logo. It's falling in love with the style, the way they did things, and not to mention the incredible arcade pedigree. We had all of those cabinets and machines, stuff like Top Skater. We loved that as kids, loved it. And of course, a slew of other ones, obviously Virtua Fighter, Virtua Cop, all of that. But it's never stopped. I since the time I'm a little kid, it's been a part of me,
Yeah.
as nerdy as it sounds.
It does sound nerdy, but I can relate. I think we can all relate. Everyone listening can relate. Yeah. Uh, I keep asking this. It's hard to describe and give just like one straight answer. But what was it about Sega that drew you in specifically?
Yeah, I mean, you know how people will say blue skies, right? They'll use that,
That's what I
and
say. Yeah.
yeah, it's the music, it's the ambiance, the way the games make you feel, the creative characters, and not to disparage Nintendo. Actually, you know what? To hell with it. I'll disparage Nintendo. They did, unlike them, it wasn't just a copy and paste of their incredible and admittedly incredible slew of characters and IP year after year, generation after generation. Sega was always about new games, new characters, new ideas, and just, I mean, Crazy Taxi. All right, imagine that pitch meeting. All right, guys, what about a game? And hear me out. You're going to get in a cab. You're going to pick people up, and the faster you do it, the better your score. It's like, Johnson, you're fired. But people loved it, and it's the uniqueness, it's the creativity, it's
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah, yeah. And some of those arcade experiences that translated so well into console as well. You probably, I'd like to be like a fly on the wall to just like listen to the whole reasoning of someone pitching those crazy ideas and
Yeah,
everyone being on board. They're like, yeah, that could work. Let's do that.
especially
Really?
Seaman. Not an arcade game, but I'd still love to be involved. Be a fly on the wall there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's gonna be a great idea. That's a revolutionary concept, and actually, it is in a way. Yeah, it is. But
Hmm.
yeah, I wonder who. I wonder what the process of like making those decisions was like. Yeah,
I
but
know.
yeah, but I totally agree with what you said, right? And is the Dreamcast your favorite console? Your favorite Sega console?
Phew. It is. So I can tell you that Genesis Mega Drive is definitely number three if I had to pick like a top three.
Hmm.
But I'm telling you, I seem to go back and forth month after month between Saturn and Dreamcast. I've
Hmm.
done most of my work on the Dreamcast, but it's only kind of because, I mean, yeah, it's very near and dear to my heart, but also once I started diving into it, one thing leads to another. You get better, you learn more, and you just want to, keep going down that path.
Hmm.
But I'm starting to work on the Saturn too. I suppose if it was a gun to my head, I would say, yeah, sure, okay, I'll pick the Dreamcast, but I don't want to. It's hard to say.
It's hard. It's hard. It's a good thing, like to feel that way. Like you can enjoy
Hmm.
more systems and like don't feel the pressure to I'm gonna stick to this one. There's a great catalog of non-translated games on the Saturn as well that many people missed out on. So it's great that you're digging into that now as well, right?
Oh yeah, forget it. Saturn. I mean, Saturn's got many times over. If you're just looking at candidates for translation patches, I mean, phew, the number of games that never, were brought to the West on that machine that are just fantastic or not fantastic. They're just weird,
Yeah,
but worth translating and experiencing. There. Oh my gosh, it numbers in the hundreds.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So is that the reasoning behind, or the reason behind you wanting to translate um, games, and or actually, let's go back a little bit more. What led you uh, to doing this? What decisions in your life, good or bad, doesn't matter, brought you to this place?
Well, obviously, it was a series of very poor decisions that led me to do completely volunteer work with no monetary gain whatsoever that take months and years.
Good job, good job. Yeah.
Could have been a hardware engineer and sold boutique retro gaming products, but instead here I am. No, in all seriousness, when I first started learning about the existence of translation patches and playing them, it was years and years and years ago when the early ones started, early aughts when you started seeing some of these. And they date back to before then, just to be clear. But when I became aware of them, I had no idea the breadth and scope of work that was involved in actually developing them. Although having a technical background and being into computers and programming and software development from the time I'm a little kid, I knew it had to be difficult. I didn't assume it was easy. But then as the years progressed, I finally got a chance to play what has actually become, thanks to the existence of its translation patch, my favorite game of all time, which is Police Knots from Konami, specifically the Saturn version.
Okay.
Um, and for that game to have such an impact on me, and for me to realize I never would have had the opportunity to have this experience if it weren't for a team of, hackers, reverse engineers, translators, graphic artists, you name it, who just decided like we really want to see this happen. It's like a mind blowing kind of proposition for me. And during the highly contested COVID lockdowns, yes, we remember those.
Yeah, yeah.
I had an inordinate amount of time on my hands at home, and one day I just said, I think I'm going to start. This was in 2020. I think I'm going to start looking at reverse engineering some Dreamcast games to see if I could potentially develop one of these translation patches for them. And yeah, the rest is history. I mean, it's partially fueled by I love the sense of community. I love giving back to people, especially from a community and a scene from which so much has been freely given to me over the years. So there's that component, but it's also the personal challenge. The can I do this, and seeing something that you create, or in this case modify, which in itself becomes a new creation. To
Yeah.
see that, yeah, to see it in front of you on a television, to see yourself being able to play it, or to see other people being able to play it. It's kind of one of those moments that a lot of people who are in software development, they talk about when they first wrote their a computer program very first time, and they compiled it and they saw it running. Wow, I wrote that, and there it is in front of me. That it's a very satisfying feeling, and I never thought I'd ever be able to see anything that I created or modified be running on my favorite game machines. And so it's just such a cool feeling, and I hope that feeling never goes away.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And in a way, speaking of creating, it is a little bit of creating as well, because it's not just like a literal translation word for word, right? You have to take into account the context and make things make sense, right? So
Hmm.
is that more than you expect, more hard work than you expected? Is it harder? Is it like different than you were expecting when you started this?
That's a great question because it is hard to know what you don't know about the process of localizing a story written in one language to another language, right? It's hard to really know what that looks like until you endeavor to do it. So, for clarity, I don't actually perform the language translation portion of this work. So I focus strictly on writing tools, reverse engineering the games, writing new assembly code to make them do what we need them to do for the patch to work, graphics, things like that. But I'm always very intimately involved in kind of like every facet of the work. So I'll also contribute as an editor because I kind of
Mhm.
fancy myself as something of a decent wordsmith, kind of, sort of. And it is difficult sometimes to write natural, flowing English and kind of make it palatable for all players. But yeah, man, the just the complexity of the language that's used in some games, the cultural references, the nuance, the jokes, it really takes like the fantastic translators I've worked with. It takes a lot of skill and also research capabilities to effectively translate and localize that stuff and to make it so that it makes sense to Western audiences and that they can play it and not just be more confused than they were had they played the original Japanese version.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I talked to, I think it was Sam Mullen, who was like the localization manager in the Yakuza games. Not anymore, but he worked on several of them. And there was a time where when Sega started, like Sega Western Sega, probably SOA Sega of America, started like working on properly localizing the Yakuza games. I think it started with Zero, with Yakuza Zero. I'm not sure if you've played the Yakuza games or not, or if you're familiar with them. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Zero
familiar.
probably
Yeah.
the one that hit mainstream. And it was the one that Sega really worked on properly localizing. And we had a talk about the difference between translation and localization, right? And how
Hmm.
it's harder but better to localize something because cultural references get lost if you just translate something. And
Hmm.
you know, but also there's a challenge there, which is which liberties should we take with this with the source material to make this make sense? How do you guys approach this? How do you and your teams approach that?
Oh yeah, that's a barrel of fun right there. That one. So I will say that this opinion here is my own, which is and I agree with what you said that a story, a video game story, is best enjoyed localized with the appropriate degree of liberties taken versus a transliteration or a minimally localized translation. That being said, and as you know, as Japanese culture and anime pop culture becomes increasingly popular in the West, there are a lot of people who work in these volunteer translation projects, whether it's video games or manga or subtitles for animes and stuff, who they are a little bit more strict on transliteration. Localization or outright changing the source material is a last resort. They say if I can't figure out any other way, and even if I can't, I kind of consider myself a failure. Like this is an opinion that some people have. They're entitled to it. I don't agree because I think the vast majority of people looking to play translation patches, they aren't going to be incredibly steeped in Japanese culture to the point where terminology, even sometimes the names for different foods, can be taken for granted as just assumed knowledge. So there are certainly points of contention. Even with the little groups that I end up working on, we have disagreements, compromises, and then different people across the scene they will have their own approaches to it. But I would say if you play the game and you don't ever have to stop and think about the translation, I think an effective and a good job was done. That's kind of the metric I like to use, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Makes total sense. Yeah, I think, and as you mentioned, people, maybe Japanese culture is more mainstream, at least parts of it. So as time goes on, you probably have less issues with having to take liberties and change things to make it understandable for people who are not from Japan, right?
Hmm.
But mostly most of the Japanese culture is not mainstream, so it's always a hard balance to achieve, I'm sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. And you talked about like surrounding yourself with a team of talented individuals, leading those teams. So, first of all, how do you go about choosing and getting people to help you with these projects?
You saw the lottery in Hunger Games? No, I'm just kidding.
Do they
It's kind of one
volunteer
of
as
the,
tributes?
yes, basically. And that's also why you can't interview any of them. They're just not here to tell the story. No, I'm just kidding. That was some morbid stuff right there.
Just one
So
per game remains in the end,
yeah, there you
and it's
go.
always Derek.
Yep, that's right. No, no, no. But in all seriousness, like any online communities, there's going to be like overlap. People who know this person, someone knows that person. Different Discord servers and such, or forums. Um, when I kind of broke into doing this as people in different, let's call them like Sega retro centric discords, or strictly ROM hacking and translation patch development discords, as they start to see somebody on the technical side who is capable, and they see them like actually achieving things and doing good work, and they find that it's somebody with whom they'd actually like to work, people start to kind of come out of the woodwork like, hey, I saw you posted something about this game. I'd love to do the translation for it. I'd love to do the graphics for it. And then of course I've got kind of a few different people that I've worked with on multiple projects. And unfortunately, as any volunteer projects go, you get the people who show up and they're really eager, and then they don't do anything and they disappear. And I don't really hold it against them, but I'll just say for anyone out there listening, if you are considering volunteering for a translation patch project, please don't do so unless you really believe you can commit to it, just because the time it takes to onboard new people into a complex project, it's like when you start a new job. Not that extreme, but you get what I mean. Doing it over and over again,
Yeah.
it can get a little exhausting. But yeah, that's basically how it goes.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. If you feel like you won't have the time, if you think it's an easy job, it probably isn't. So don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah. And so for people listening to this and wondering what goes into creating a translation patch, you've mentioned briefly some of the things and some of the tasks involved. So how do you go about this? How do you approach a new project? Let's say you get an inkling to work on a certain game. First of all, how do you pick the games? Let's start with that,
Yeah,
perhaps.
good question. And it usually, and this is not just true for me, it's true for anybody doing this type of work from the technical side, because uh, that's that's kind of the must-have part. There are a lot of people who will translate the text from a game they love in hopes that some, hacker or programmer will pick it up. But obviously, if you don't have that hacker or programmer, it's going to stay as translated text. By
Yeah.
the way, that it happens the other way around too. Sometimes you can't find a translator. But typically, for me and for everybody else, it comes in two flavors, which is either you're just kind of stumbling upon a game and you start looking under the hood and you start to see, okay, this is a game that I could rip apart and put back together. This certain feasibility or level of effort, you start to kind of gauge it out in your head and you realize it's possible. And then, of course, you ask yourself the question, is it worth it? And there's also the cases of just those games that are like Police Knots, for example. Nobody stumbled on Police Knots. It was people on the Junker HQ forums who were big Hideo Kojima fans, big fans of Snatcher, and they just wanted it so badly. And it took years, people coming, people going, hard drive crashes, data loss. I mean, you name it. And they made it happen, but they just kept going. They kept trying. Um, so for me, usually it's a case of kind of the former. Like I'll just be looking around at stuff and find something, but that's not always the case. There's definitely a few that I set out to do and made the decision before finding out if I could or how easily I could rather.
Okay, okay. And why was that? Why did you decide on those specific games,
Mm,
on those cases?
yeah, good question. I'll get into the other part of your question in a moment too about like kind of what goes into the
Yeah.
the process, at least getting it started. But um, let's take for example the very first translation patch I ever did was one of the two Neon Genesis Evangelion typing games on the Dreamcast, which I mean, if you could measure fanfare on a scale from 1 to 10, it'd be like in the negatives. Nobody cares. Although years later now, I get random people like, "Oh, so thank you for doing it. It's so cool." It was the first project I ever did, and David, I did it because as a kid, I had a Dreamcast keyboard and I had a burned copy of that game, the Japanese one, and you could play the first 3 levels with English words, and I
Okay.
loved it because it was just another thing to do on Dreamcast. I loved it,
Hmm.
and then after that, you couldn't enjoy the game anymore after levels 1, 2, and 3. So I looked at it. It's actually a Windows CE game, by the way, which was really a horrible decision for my first project because they're infinitely more difficult. And yeah, I was like, I really want to do this, and I got so into it, staying up late every night, and so there's cases like that. Jung Rhythm was kind of another one, the Saturn one
Hmm.
I recently released. I played
Hmm.
that years ago, and I remember thinking this would be so cool if everything was in English. Um, yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So that was my question. Actually, why was it like out of your own need or want of playing those games or experiencing them in English? Is it like this is an easy one? Let's start with this, or but it's mostly because you want to have them
yeah.
available in English, right?
It's like a mixed bag. There's times that it's kind of like I enjoy working on these projects so much
Hmm.
that sometimes if I just find something that I consider like on the easy side, oh, this will take a few months. Like, okay, I'll just do it. It seems like a cool enough game and I'll enjoy it. And by the end of it, I want to fall in love with the game,
Yeah.
which I always do. And then I end up buying a copy of it just so I can have it. It's kind of one of those like memento things. So yeah, it really is a mixed bag like that.
Hmm.
And when you asked about what goes into it, I
Yeah.
don't want to bore the hell out of the listeners or go too deep down the rabbit holes. I got to say though, if I was listening to this, I'd be like,
You'd
"Oh,
probably
tell
want
me
to
more."
know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 So
so
you
I'll,
you
I'll
you you
keep it.
already talked about like reverse engineering
Yeah,
and looking under the hood. So that's your like initial step as well, right? Looking
yeah,
into what goes into making
hmm
that game and if you can work on it.
exactly. I mean, when you think about these old games, um, we're not talking about modern games where there are very unified and streamlined development tools, development kits, and development processes and practices. Now that said, like, was there an official Dreamcast development kit? Yeah, of course there was. It was called the Katana. Was there one for the Saturn? Yeah, of course there was. Was there one for you name it? Yes, but with old games, pretty much on a game by game basis, there are going to be weird proprietary one off formats. Data will be structured and built in completely different ways. There's no rhyme or reason to one game to the next game. So each game is usually a brand new endeavor. That said, you do kind of like hone certain skills over the years and you begin to recognize patterns and you know how to work with certain things, um, graphic formats and such. But yeah, once you've taken a look at, where does a game store its text? Is it encrypted? Or excuse me, not encrypted. Is it encrypted? I hope not. Is it
Yeah.
compressed? Compressed, I meant to say. Is it compressed? Are the graphics compressed? What does the font look like? And once you start looking at those things, then it turns into a case of actually disassembling the game executable or game executables. So you're looking at like the raw machine code, in a disassembler like EDA Pro or Gidra, and that's when you're actually taking a debugger and an emulator and comparing it with what you see in a disassembler, and either kind of tracing code to see how things behave, making slight alterations, or in the case of a lot of the games I've worked on and a lot of other translation patches out there, writing like a ton of brand new assembly code to make the game do like all sorts of stuff that it needs to, or implement new features, things like that. So yeah, it really gets out of hand pretty quick, David, is what I'm trying to say.
Awesome, awesome. And then you have to find the right people or willing people
Hmm.
to help you out as well, right? So
Yeah.
translators,
Yeah.
um,
It's
graphic
hard.
designers,
Translators.
perhaps,
Yeah.
right? Artists,
Hmm.
all of those are people involved, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and depending on like me personally, depending on the level of work involved, I'll sometimes do like all the graphics if I think I can do them justice. I'm
Hmm.
no terrific graphic artist, but in many cases I'm good enough so that it actually looks pretty okay. um, but you can take for example the first of the two Love Hina games on Dreamcast, which is kind of like a walk around adventure, almost like visual novels elements to it, and mini games and such. Pretty cool, but that game is something where the graphics, I'm not even going to probably try to touch them because they need to be pretty polished to fit in well with the motif. And translation, it's a lot of text. It's similar to that Nakoruru visual novel,
Hmm.
so it's
Hmm.
going to be a long-term project. But I already did all the assembly hacking. I wrote all the custom tools for the text and graphic extract, reinsert, all that stuff. So it's just one of those chugging along processes. But I tell you, it's like you wish that when you got the bug, like, oh, I want to do this game. Okay. You spend like a week or weeks or months, like, working with all the data and figuring it out. You just wish you could snap your fingers and the whole team would just be there. Like, okay, we're ready for you, Derek. It's not how it works. But, hey, listen, it's all volunteer stuff. It's all for fun. And I'm just thrilled that anybody wants to work with me on any of this stuff.
Hmm.
It's a huge privilege.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But it's also understandable for, or people should understand if they like see one of their the game they really want translated and they see it's in progress and it takes a while. Please understand, right? It's a hard process and involves a lot of people and involves time and effort, like we said before. So
Hmm.
it's volunteer work, so please be patient. And people probably generally are, right? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's your experience with people wanting a certain game to be translated.
You've said it so politely. We'll just go with your take. No, I'm kidding. No, you are correct. By and large, the vast majority of people are very
Mhm.
appreciative that anyone does any of this stuff. And, it's the same way I feel. There are so many people who create things that I wouldn't hope to begin to try to create. And I'm so appreciative that they even care to do it, even if they're charging me money for it. And you see that attitude mostly around in the various communities, but you do get the annoying people now and then who say, I don't understand why they did this game when this other game here could be done and they should have just done that one. It's like it's not how any of this works, and it's also usually a clear indication, and I'll draw my line here and I'll stop. Usually a clear indication that the person probably never created anything, at least anything technical or artistic in their life, because they don't. That's not how it works. That's not reality. So anyway, that's it.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, everyone's appreciative. Yeah, really
Yes, yes.
nice people all around. Yeah.
No, I'd be lying though if I didn't say that I'm always getting very kind and like very wonderful comments from people. It's honestly like heartwarming. I can't believe when people come and leave some kind of comment or something like, "Oh my gosh, I finally sat down and played this, and I just couldn't believe how wonderful the story was. It was so."
Mhm.
I mean, that's like there's no compliment or praise like that. You just can't believe that you were part of making that happen. It's really special, and
Hmm.
I treasure it a lot.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Okay. We'll take a quick break in a little bit, but I wanted to mention this before we did. There's a specific game, and I think we'll get into specifics later. But there's a specific game you worked on, Rainbow Cotton, which will have a remastered version coming out in the next few days at the time
Hmm.
that we're recording this. And I believe you actually, the work that you did was used in the remastered version as well, right?
So actually, yeah, Andreas Scholl, the programmer, really the main force making any of this happen. I mean, he's brilliant. He's completely rewritten the game, so it's actually beyond. And they keep calling it a remaster, so it's not your fault, David, for calling it that. It was actually like it's a remake. It's a full fledged
Yeah.
remake. It's absolutely stellar. Fixes the control issues the original Dreamcast game had. But yeah, they actually reached out and contacted me. It's actually a funny story. On my website, on the contact section at the very bottom, it says, if you'd like to email me on my Dreamcast, and it gives an address. Meaning
Okay.
that's my
Yeah.
actual. So if I go onto my Dreamcast and check my email, they emailed me there. And then I never answered because I check that thing like once a year, maybe twice. And then I get another email, or no, I get a direct message from Andreas saying, "Hey," I said, "Yeah, I would never have ignored an email like that. Are you kidding me? What address did they use?" And then I found out the address. I said, "Oh, there you go." So, yeah, he put us in touch, and yeah, certain assets, translation assets, and other things that you'll see in the retail release came from our team, and yeah, that's already all been publicly stated in interviews and such. No big
Hmm.
secret. And I'm also told that our names will be in the credits at the end, given a little special thanks of some kind. So that's pretty cool. I never thought in a million years. I mean, usually when you get an email like that, you're expecting cease and desist. Um, and I actually get another email from the IP holder for an FM Towns game that I did, and I also expected that to be a cease and desist. Although I was going to answer like, "Buddy, are you serious? There's nobody on Earth interested in this game. There's like 7 of us, you know, and I'm one of them." And it was actually him kind of coming with the same thing. Hey, I might want to, release this on modern machines one day, and if I do, what do you think about using the translation? I mean, that's like I never thought in a million years. I think it's just so cool. Like what a compliment, right?
For
To
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Yeah, and Rainbow Cotton is really a really cool game. Actually, this new version, I've been playing it for a few days now.
Oh,
Haven't finished it. Yeah, because I suck at games. It's well documented at this point that I suck at video games. Although I love them, but I'll keep an eye out for your name in the credits of the game when I do actually
sounds good.
finish it.
I'm
And
definitely gonna
more,
have to play it too.
yeah, more news on Rainbow Cotton in future episodes. So stay tuned to the Sega Lounge for that. But that's amazing. That's really amazing. It's like, as you said, it's a compliment and also proof that your hard work really comes from a place of love for these games and like a wish to get people to experience these games that otherwise we'd miss out on because of the language barrier, right?
Hmm.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So it's time to take a quick break, Derek. And you know what that means, right? You know what
Oh
that
no.
means.
Oh no.
Full disclosure, you DM'd me when we like set up this interview and you said, "Oh, please go easy on me."
Shut your mouth, David.
It's time for the Sega Lounge Challenge.
Now that you know our guests, it's time to put them to the test. It's the moment we've waited for and the moment they dread.
Welcome to your doom.
I mean, welcome to the SEGA Lounge Challenge.
Oh man.
And this week, let's go with the Ultimate Sega Fan Challenge as per usual. I have to. I'll be completely honest here before we start. I was trying to make this easier, but I think I kind of screwed up. Which means this will be, for people listening, it will be very entertaining. For the person who is taking the challenge, probably not so much. I'll explain what specifically is not easy in a bit. But if you I know you listened to previous episodes, so the Sega Fan Challenge is like 10 rounds. Some of them are questions. You can pick between an easy or a hard question, like general Sega knowledge. Then we have music rounds. Those are the ones that are really hard, I think. Well, we'll see. And then we also have something new this season, which is the back of the box descriptions. So I went into the back of the box of certain Sega games, and I'll read the descriptions to you, and then you have to see if you can guess the game from that. Okay, pretty easy. Just we're aiming to 10 points. That's the goal, 10 points. And we'll start with the question, Derek. So, would you like an easy or a hard question to get us started?
So reacclimate me with the rules here. If my goal is to get to 10 points, is an
Mhm.
easy question worth just as much as a
Just
hard
one.
question?
An easy question is worth 1 point. A hard question is worth 2.
Okay, that makes sense.
Although
Well,
1 point is better than none. Just saying.
yeah, that is an undeniable truth.
That's how maths works.
That is how it works, or so I'm told. So I already know, because I'm a classic case of like listening to a podcast and listening to alleged like fans and experts talk about something, and then being like the angry old man yelling at my stereo like, you forgot to mention this. And now I know I'm just getting it all back to me. I'm gonna do horribly here, and I'm not gonna believe how many questions I missed. So I'm just gonna preface that. I'm gonna start with a hard. I'm gonna start with a hard.
Many people do, and they usually regret it, which is nice. So, hard question.
Oh,
Hard
man.
Sega question. Let's pick. As I think I said this before on air, I actually do have a longer list of hard questions than of easy questions. What does that say about me? It's for people to decide. Okay. Oh, this is too hard. And then I go back to the question and I say, no, this is too hard even for you. So don't do that. Okay.
Hey, don't say even for me. None of
Even
my
for me.
expertise are.
No.
Oh,
I was saying
you.
even for me.
Okay.
I was talking to myself. No, like, don't do that.
Gotcha.
I am aware of your expertise. So let's go with this one. I don't know if this is really hard, but let's see. What's the name of the tactical RPG released for the 3DS, for the Nintendo 3DS in 2012 in Japan and 2013 in the West, which features characters from Bandai Namco, Capcom, and Sega games?
A tactical RPG?
Tactical RPG. 3DS. Bandai
Considering
Namco, Capcom, and Sega.
Oh my, it's probably something very obvious, but I'll just say this. The newest game machine in my home is a PlayStation 2.
Okay.
Although my wife did make a risky move and bought me a Switch for Christmas. So I'm actually experiencing new games for the first time in like decades. Oh, David, honest to God, I don't think there's any chance I'm going to get this one, but let me just think for a moment.
Okay.
So
Think about it.
Bandai Namco
Bandai
characters.
Namco, Capcom characters and Sega characters. There was a sequel to this, so this spawned a sequel later. I'm not helping, but I'm
really regretting the mechanical keyboard because I would be like, shadow Googling this right now, but I have too much integrity. Plus, you'd catch me. Oh man! All right, I can't believe I'm gonna have to pass on this one.
What would you call a game like this?
What would
Out
I
of
call
curiosity, yeah. What would you call it? Anything goes.
I would call it the SSRPG version of King of Fighters. Bring all the characters from the different games together, except in an SSRPG. Honestly, I don't even know. The only tactical RPGs I can even think of is some of those elements are in Sakura Wars. There was Final Fantasy Tactics and all of those spin-offs. But I can't think of anything that takes Capcom characters, Sega. I'll take the big Zero on this one.
Okay. So
what is it, David? What's the name?
The name is Project Cross Zone. No points. Project Cross Zone, like crossover, cross zone, like an X. And then there was Project Cross Zone 2, which was also on the 3DS.
I wouldn't have got that in a million years, man. No way.
I think the fact that it was like a strategy RPG, a tactical RPG, that was the main reason why many people missed out on this one, including myself. I tried the demo of I think the second one. Maybe I'll give it a try. I'm thinking of giving it a try again because there are a lot of Sega characters in this, and a lot.
It actually looks kind of cool from what I saw there.
It does. It does really look cool. Yeah. And I think it's they are both pretty decent games, I think. Okay. So no points there, which is no surprise because you went for a hard one. See, told you. Let's go with round number 2. So round number 2 is a song. So a 10-second long clip of a song. This is probably very easy. So this is how it works. 1 point for the game, 1 point for level, where it plays in the game, song title, anything that tells me that you know what the song is. Okay? Ready for number 1?
Let's get it over with. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be so bad at these.
I think you know this one. I don't know. Let's see.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that's from one of the Sonic Adventure games. And what level? Oh man, it's not. Why couldn't you play Station Square? You could have just done that. You could have done it.
Assuming it's one of the Sonic Adventure games. That is.
I've listened to enough of these. I know you're Regis Philbin who wants to be a millionaire like Tactics. I'm almost positive. I'm actually playing through Sonic Adventure 1 on Dreamcast right now.
So is it that one? Because you have to pick between 1 or 2. Even if it's a Sonic Adventure game, there are 2, right?
Yeah. Oh man. It sounds like it would be like a Knuckles theme song or something, like Knuckles song from. Oh, geez.
Would I play? Should I play it again?
No, because I hear it going in my head. No, I hear it. I know it. Or excuse me, I don't know it. But let's put it this way: I won't be able to hear it any better. I heard it once.
Makes sense.
Well, I will also have to fail this one. So
no.
Wait a minute.
Pick between Sonic. You get 1 point for the game. If the game is right, you get 1 point. So Sonic Adventure 1 or 2, you say, right? So
all right, I'm going to say Sonic Adventure 1, and I don't know what stage it would be. Although I bet you I'm wrong, and it's Sonic Adventure 2, and it's one of the stages you play as Knuckles. I feel like I'm going to be wrong, but Sonic Adventure 1, don't know the stage. Final answer.
For the sake of guessing, where would this play in Sonic Adventure 1 if it's if it's the game you're going with.
Oh, wait a minute.
Because
Is
the,
this-
the 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 songs in Sonic Adventure, they are mostly the same. The levels that, how can I put this? So if a character or if two
Yes, I know what you're
characters
getting to.
share a level, the song, or at least sections of that level, the song is the same. So there is not like a specific. It's not like 2 where there's specific songs for specific character.
Okay.
They all have individual levels, right? So here they
Right.
share stages.
Shared music, yeah. Now I'm starting to think this is some Robotnik music, actually. I'm starting to think this plays on one of your encounters, or Eggman, whatever you want to call him. He's always going to be Robotnik to me. But I'm starting to think it's Sonic Adventure 1 on one of, or whenever maybe you see Robot. Can you believe I've been playing this game like once a week for several months now, and I can't even say like what song? Oh my lord!
It's
All right,
okay.
I'm going
It's
with
okay.
Sonic Adventure 1,
Okay.
Robotnik, any stage with Robotnik.
I like a
when you have to-
boss encounter with
Yeah,
Robotnik.
yeah.
Okay. That's your final answer, right?
It's as good as it's going to get, I'm afraid.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you, it is not a Robotnik fight. No. So no points for the song itself. Is it Sonic Adventure 1, though? It is. Yes. It's the song for Skydeck. Skydeck stage. So this is Skydeck A Go Go. It's one of the, I think Knuckles and Sonic share this stage, and it's the same song for both of them. Although I'm not sure because Sonic has other sections of this level. I can't remember. This is Skydeck. Anyhow,
Do you know what makes this just even more insulting is that Friday night, that's the stage I played through, Skydeck. I'll never pretend to be good at trivia or remember.
See?
I have trivia for.
but you recognize the game at least, so that's 1 point. That's one hard-earned point there, which is
Hard
nice.
earned, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. Only 9 left. Let's see what happens with round number 3, which is another question, Derek. Would you like to pick between an easy and a hard one?
Yeah, we're going to go easy on this one. Yeah.
It's a good decision. That's a good decision. Okay. So, I like this. I like this question. What name is given to the combination of a Mega Drive or a Genesis, a Mega CD or a Sega CD, a 32X, and usually a Sonic & Knuckles cartridge with another Sonic game attached to it? If you put together a Genesis, a Sega CD, a 32X, Sonic & Knuckles, Sonic 3, for example, what is that?
You have yourself one Tower of Power. That is my final answer, Bob.
You sound pretty sure of yourself here.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I always call it or have heard it called the Tower of Power, but never with the inclusion of a Knuckles cartridge. I don't know if that throws it off, and now it's like, the condominium of terror or something at that point. But like Tower of Power is all I know it. So I'm going with that.
Yes, that's it. Well done. Yeah, because you have to put a game in it, right? So and it's Sonic and Knuckles. You get another game. So
Extra points if you have a Game Genie in there.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And a Netlink or an X-Band, whatever they call it on the Mega Drive.
Okay, so that's 2 points so far, which things are looking up. Things are looking up. Let's go with round 4, which is another song. And after this, we'll have the first back of the box, which is very exciting. Okay, I think you're going to crush the back of the box rounds. Okay, but number 4 is a music round. So let's take a listen to our second song. Ooh.
Oh my gosh, I can hear it, especially the ending part. Oh man, you picked the worst 10 seconds of that. You should have. You should on purpose, obviously. Oh man. Oh, my poor brain. The
you
neurons are
you
firing in all
seem to
directions.
recognize it somehow, though.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my gosh, it's not Choo Choo Rocket. Mm, oh man. Do me a favor. Play it one more time.
Sure thing.
Is that Sega Tetris?
Is that a
My,
question or an
my,
answer? 'Cause
all right, wise guy. My answer is Sega Tetris.
So song and so a game and song. So if it is Sega Tetris, where would it play? What would it be like?
There was a time I played that game. Oh my gosh, I sunk hours into that game. It almost reminds me of the Arctic stage or like the ice stage with the I don't know what to call it, but I believe it was called like Arctic something.
Mhm.
Maybe not though. But I'm still solid on my Sega Tetris, I think.
Okay.
Lock it in, baby.
There's no way I can change your mind. Then it's what you're saying. Yeah.
No, I that's the one connection that my brain was able to
Okay.
I realize I sound very sure of myself, but now you got
That's
me.
great. That's great. You should always trust your gut feeling and go with that.
Oh yeah, even when it's
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah,
Even
sure.
when it's wrong, for sure. Yes. So it's not the
All
Arctic
right.
stage. No, it's not the Arctic stage. Is it Sega Tetris? The song is called, and I don't know if this is a hint or not. The song is called, or it's the song that plays in the Endless Fever. No?
Endless Fever still makes me think it has to be a.
So this, you should, in theory, know it.
Is
Because
this from
it's-
Sakura Wars Columns 2?
No, it is Puyo Pop Fever.
That's what I knew it was a puzzle game. I was like, no, it's no way it's from Sakura
You
Wars
were
Columns 2.
close in, yeah, like you were saying too. You're saying Tetris, Sakura Wars columns.
Because I
Yeah.
love puzzle games. I knew it had to be from one of them. Man,
This is really recognizable, right? But like I'm not sure if I heard this, if I would like immediately go Puyo Puyo or Puyo Pop Fever or whatever it is. So yeah, it was hard. I told you it was hard. Yeah.
no, I should have got that. I've played a lot of Puyo Puyo. I love those games. Puzzle games are like one of my favorites. I can't believe I didn't get that. That's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't.
It's
I
okay.
didn't
It's
agree
okay.
to be on this show to do excellently on your trivia. I'm
That's
here to
true.
have a good time.
That's true. That's true. Okay. So let's go with back of the box, which is a guaranteed good time for sure. And this is worth
Okay.
2 points. And you only need to tell me the game. I think this one in particular is really easy. I've redacted a few words as I usually do, but still, I probably should have redacted more. This is the description off the back of the box of the US version of the game. So the US back of the box, the North American one. And it reads, enter the world of Redacted and experience a game like no other. A fusion of classic Redacted action with the most technologically advanced RPG to come to Redacted. Board your morphing Redacted and behold as the mysteries of the Redacted world unfurl across 4 massive CDs. The new rail-free 3D engine lets you soar deeper into role-playing adventure than you ever before imagined. Your destiny awaits.
Okay. There was one part I didn't quite hear.
Okay.
Okay, so hold on. Shenmue 1 is 3 discs and a passport disc. Shenmue 2 is
So you're going with the 4 massive CDs. Out of all of that, that's what you took from all of that I just read.
and and just the touting of the RPG experience like you've never had it. It'll probably come over to your house and make breakfast for you. It's amazing. You should buy it right now. Yeah. Shenmue
I'll
2.
let me read it again and pay
Yes,
attention
please
to
do.
the very first sentence or like the first 2 sentences or so. Enter the world of Redacted and experience a game like no other. A fusion of classic Redacted action with the most technologically advanced RPG to come to Redacted. And then it says, board your morphing Redacted and behold as the mysteries of the Redacted world unfurl across 4 massive CDs.
Oh,
The
when you said
new rail-free 3D
board,
engine.
sorry, when you said board the morphing, that's the part I was going to say. I didn't quite hear it.
Okay.
You didn't stumble over it the first time. I didn't hear. Okay,
Yeah.
no, nothing's morphing in Shenmue. Dang. 4
The
discs.
new rail-free 3D engine lets you soar deeper into role-playing adventure than you ever before imagined. Your destiny awaits.
Yeah, this is Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Okay, 2 points. Why wait? Yes, it is.
Oh man, I cannot believe I was about to give the answer of friggin' Shenmue on that one. That's it. Take away my card.
I mean, it would be like on brand for me. There's usually something Shenmue in here somewhere, but this time no. This is Panzer Dragoon Saga. Yeah, 4 discs, right? Okay, I like that all that you took away. The first thing you took away from this was 4 discs. So Shenmue is 3 discs and a passport.
And then I was trying to think, how many discs is Shenmue 2? Isn't that 4? Yeah. Great games. But yeah,
For sure.
PDS, as soon as you said, see, it didn't seem like it made sense in the context of Shenmue, but I was thinking, how many games on any of those Saturn
And so
or Dreamcast?
the redacted words were enter the world of Panzer Dragoon Saga and experience a game like no other. A fusion of classic Panzer action with the most technologically advanced RPG to come to Saturn. Board your morphing dragon and behold the mysteries of the Panzer world unfurl, blah, blah, blah.
See, all you have to do is read that version, and your guests will perform so much better on your quizzes.
That's true. But we lose the entertainment part of the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess life's all about trade-offs.
2 points. So that makes it 4. We're very close to that 10-point goal. So to celebrate, how about another song, Derek?
Oh, sure. I can't wait.
Yay. Let's take a listen.
See, now that sounds Sakura Wars to me. Oh, man. But definitely not. It sounds Saturn to me. Oh, great. Only gives me 3 Sakura Wars games to choose from on the Saturn. Great. Might not even be Sakura Wars.
This is lovely.
What is the pain?
Yeah, of course. It's lovely.
Watching me squirm, trying to figure these out. Do it one more time, please.
Okay, let's take a listen.
And why does it also remind me of like Sailor Moon? Oh man.
So you've apparently narrowed down the platform, the console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like it would be one of the games from the Columns game or songs from Hanagumi Tyson Columns, which I'd like to do one day, by the way.
Okay.
It almost sounds like it would be just due to the the tempo, the melody, the timbre or
Okay.
timbre. Which is it? Timbre, timbre.
Timber is
I don't know.
voice, I think.
Okay, there you
Right?
go.
I think so.
I don't know. I'm
I don't know
obviously
either.
talking way out of school here.
Same.
Oh, now if you threw any song from Sakura Wars Columns 2 at me, those I would get. All right. I'm gonna go with my best guess here. Hanagumi Taisen Columns on the Saturn. Final answer. We'll see how it goes.
What song, by the way? Where?
You
What
kidding
kind
me?
of like versus whom? I don't know.
Maybe it's one of Rennie's. Is Rennie in that game? I don't think Rennie's in that game. Wow. Who does that sound like? Maybe I'll just say it's Sakura Wars song. There you go.
Okay.
Give my generic default answer.
Okay.
All right, lay it on me, David. What did I do?
So, it is Hanagumi
No
Tyson
kidding?
columns. It is.
What?
Yes.
Oh
I
my
didn't have
God.
any Sakura Wars columns 2 songs, so I went with what I had here, which was the first one on the Saturn. And surprisingly, you got it. Amazing. 1 point. You don't get the point for the song, which was a puzzle game versus Sumire.
Oh,
The song is Languishing Mambo, which I think is the theme of Sumire.
well, of course. Yeah,
Sumire?
they played that at my
Sumire?
wedding. Yeah. Just
Really?
kidding. No, she's
Oh,
my-
okay. Oh, that would be
No,
amazing.
no.
That would be amazing.
As in,
Okay.
like, oh yeah, it's such a household tune. Everybody knows that one, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so 1 point. See, things are really looking up now. You got 5 points, halfway there, with 4 rounds to go. Round 7, easy or hard?
Wait a minute. So, if like Bon Jovi said, I'm halfway there, living on a prayer, and we've got 3 questions left. How many do we have left?
So you have another song worth 1 or 2 points, another back of the box worth 2 points, and one final question, which is always hard. So it's 2 points.
Okay. I'm just trying.
This
to
is the
understand
last
from
time
where.
you can get an easy question.
All right. Give me a facile. Give me an easy.
Okay, a facile it is. A facile it is. Okay. You can't get easier than this. What
Famous last
milestone?
Sorry,
What
I'm cracking up.
milestone anniversary did Sega celebrate in 2020 with a campaign titled "Go Sega"?
Oh, that would have to be the 60th anniversary, right? 60.
It's like so easy. They're like, what? Really? That would have to be 60th. Like, really? Is that the question?
I think the resemblance to the 6 and the G, that's my main clue here. I'm going to have to say the GO is like 60. It takes ages to get this good. So that's what I'm going with.
Okay. And you see, you doubted me when I said it was easy. Yes. 60th
It's not until I hear
anniversary.
that too. Yeah, but you say easy. It's not until I hear the music that I know I didn't screw up. So I have no faith in myself here.
No. You're doing great. 6 points. 3 rounds left. So
All right.
6 points you can get. But if you get the next song in the back of the box, you're okay. So next song, last song. Okay? Let's take a listen.
I'm going to go with Rez.
Why?
Just, it has that Rezi vibe, baby. Yeah. It slaps. It's good. because I cannot possibly pin that. I'll put it this way: I don't think I heard that in Samba de Amigo, so I'm gonna go Rez on that one. I feel like I can picture like playing it and getting to that track. I could be completely wrong, but I'm gonna go with Rez. It's my best possible guess.
So out of all the games that you've played in your lifetime, Rez would be the only one with a soundtrack like this.
You bastard! All right, play it one more time. I'll say that it could belong to any number of games, but I cannot think of a more apt or appropriate answer than Rez. Although I'll tell you where my seeds of doubt are coming from. As the player kind of creates the beat, I'm doubtful as I hear a very, coherent beat already in what you've played for me. I've never listened to the standalone Rez soundtrack. I don't know what it's like, but I kind of always pictured the player kind of almost creating the music, as it were.
They're really long because it takes a long time to pick up the beat. The soundtrack, the songs are really long. Yeah.
Yeah.
They truly are.
But that could easily be a small little snippet. I mean, if you had put in there 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I would have known.
Okay. Okay.
All right, I'm going with Rez.
I'm before you lock in your answer. I'm looking at the title screen of this game right here.
Must be nice.
And it says English V1.0 for some reason. I don't know what this means.
I can't believe. All right. Yeah. See, this is how bad I am. That at one point I had to hear this song 1,000 times, and I still don't remember it. All right. So this is either Trizeal or Chaos Field. Oh man, which one is it? Wait a minute. What version did I get up to in Trizeal? Both of those are 1.0. All right.
Oh my God. Did I give you another clue? No, it's okay. Yeah. Both
are accidentally.
1.0. Yeah, both 1.0. Yeah.
In this case, you... oh, man.
What does your gut tell you? Like right now. Gun to the head.
I know. We have to move along here. All right. I'm going to say Chaos Field. Jeez.
Okay. I'm going to lock it in. Because you should always go with your gut feeling. And where would this play in Chaos Field? Not saying it is, just.
I mean, it's just going to. It would have to be just the generic stage. Maybe it's the first stage. I have no other guess beyond that. Now I'm starting to think it's Trizeal, but I can't backtrack now. Let's just keep going.
You can't.
Chaos Field, stage 1. Let's just see what happens.
Okay. It's not stage 1. It's the opening demo. Song called Into the Machine. Like into the machine, not into the machine. The game is Chaos Field. Chaos Field, yes.
Wait, so when you asked where that music plays, I was going to say title screen or attract mode, and that would have been a correct answer.
Track mode would be yes, would be if you could give me something like, and the song is called Into the Machine opening demo. So yeah. But close enough. You got 1 point for the game, right?
And let's all the listeners at home. Let's just pretend like David didn't half spoon feed that one to me.
People tell me I'm getting softer in my older years, but it's not true. Because
I came on the show at the right time.
We still have 2 rounds left, Derek Pascarella, and it's time for hard mode. So, Not really the back of the box. I don't think that this is really easy mode though. But let's take a listen to this. So this is the last back of the box. Yeah, that's all I'm going to give you right now. Okay. It says the following. Redacted is a game where you can enjoy sound like turning the pages of a picture book. Come and experience the world of Redacted, which is centered around dance and music, as well as laughter, friendship, and adventure. You have to read it like this. When it comes to laughter, friendship, and adventure.
Of course, of course.
Of course.
Wait a minute. Turning the page of Okay, here's a question, and it's a valid one.
Mhm.
Are all of the back of the boxes you're reading official English text written from the official English release of these games in their Western markets?
I don't know. So I usually say this is from the European version. This is from the US one, or
But you
something like
can't on this one, can you?
You didn't. I
No.
didn't say anything because I didn't want to give you a clue beforehand.
you're s-
But maybe if I don't say that, maybe that's a clue in itself.
Exactly. I've got you to a corner now, you trivia
Maybe.
masochist. All right, let's see. All right, I'm going to just ask you to read it one more time, although I
Okay.
do believe I have an answer.
Okay, so Redacted is a game where you can enjoy sound like turning the pages of a picture book. Come and experience the world of Redacted, which is centered around dance and music, as well as laughter, friendship, and adventure. Lovely.
All right. Dancing, aka flitzing, I'm going to go with cool tune. That's my
Why?
answer. Why? Well, the ambiguity around the region from which the description derives is a big indicator. I don't know why they would refer to it as a flipping through like a picture book, but I do remember reading the translated version of the back of it a couple times. I know there's some reproductions out there, and it seems to ring a bell. And there is laughter, there is dancing, there's music, there's friendship. You know,
Is there adventure?
all those elements. There is adventure.
Okay.
It's actually such a great game. It honestly is such
So
a great game.
if there's laughter, no, if there's dance, music, laughter, friendship, and adventure, it must be that.
Oh yeah, it must be.
It must be, right?
Yeah, I'm going
So,
with
cool tune?
But wait a minute. These could be. Wait, what's the criteria for these games, David? These have to be Sega published.
Not really. No, for the back of the box, especially, not really. No.
Okay, just an appearance on Sega hardware.
They had to be released physically, right? Otherwise, I would say instead of back of the box, I would say like eShop description or something like that. So, but there are so many physical games that we can take from. So yeah, these are physical games. So your answer is cool tune, Derek.
Yep, that's my answer. Amp
For 2 points for glory. Yes. So what I did was I took the Japanese words and translated them in Google Translate, and so we got something like the redacted parts are. Rhythm Comic is a game where you can enjoy sound like turning the pages of a picture book. Come and experience the world of Rhythm Comic, which is centered around dance and music, as well as laughter, friendship, and adventure.
Yeah, no, I remember it resonated with me because I remember the actual description being something like that, talking about turning a page, things like that. Yeah.
Excellent. And that's 2 points, 2 extra points. So let's just quickly check the score. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 points. 9 points. And the last one is a hard question. It's always a hard question. So, are you ready for our final question?
As ready as I'll ever be. Let's get it over with.
Oh God.
It's even making you say, "Oh God."
Because they're all really, really hard.
All right, just
Let's go
listen.
with
I get
this one.
9. It's okay. I'm okay with
I
not
think
getting
so.
to
I
10.
think so. So you're big into Sakura Wars, obviously. And the canon of Sakura Wars,
I
the
wouldn't say
lore,
that, but
the lore.
oh no, I wouldn't say that. But
Okay,
okay, let's do it.
you have. There's like a 1/12 chance of getting this right. In the
Okay.
2019 game Sakura Wars, or 2020 in the West, in what month is Sakura Amimiya's birthday? So the new Sakura, right, for this new game, not the original Sakura. In what month is her birthday? It's a multiple choice question.
Yeah.
Option A, January.
I've never played. I never even played the one on what was it, on the Wii and the PS2.
Mhm.
I haven't even gotten that far.
I played this one. This is a really good game. I
Yeah.
haven't completed it. I can't remember why. I think something else came out that I wanted to play, and left this. I think it was the Yakuza game or something like a Dragon game. But this is a really good one that people should definitely experience.
Okay, so I will just say April.
For reasons, April.
I will say April. For some reason, I'm just thinking of spring and April. Although maybe spring technically starts in March, but everyone knows that's a scam and it's still cold. I don't know. Let's go with April. Or my
Now
second guess
that
is
I think
what?
about it, could this be actually tied to the reason behind? I don't know.
Okay,
Is
so
there a
judging by
reasoning?
that,
I don't know.
uh,
I
so
have no
maybe it
idea.
is March. Maybe it is March. Beware the Davids of March. Isn't that what they say?
I will
Oh man.
say though, in true, like David fashion of helping, the original Sakura, so Sakura Shinguji, was born on July 28th.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that tells me a lot. Thank you.
do with that what you will.
And who is this character supposed to be? Some like new incarnate? It's her.
So
Like what's
she's
the?
like the game is set years in the future, and she's like is a very big fan of the original Sakura, and she gets into the flower division
Okay.
like the original one.
And if she happened to share a birthday in July, that would just be totally zany.
Yeah,
Well, you know what? Um,
but I
I'm
like
feeling
that
zany.
reasoning of like the Sakura and Sakura and like flower
In the
division,
spring.
and like
Yeah.
I like that reasoning better.
So am I cheating if I look up now when is spring officially said to start? Like what month?
It's not cheating. I can tell you, it's smart.
Even better. You heard that, everybody. He walked right into my trap. All right. I'm just kidding. This is horrible. Oh man. All right, let's just. I gotta cut this off. We're doing. I'm locking in March. It's March. That's my answer. It's as good as an answer as I can get. I don't know what the point of throwing in the original Sakura's birthday was, unless it actually is also July. In which case, what the hell? All right, March.
So
Lock
March
it in.
is your final answer.
Yes, sir.
Derek Pascarella for glory, for the ultimate Sega glory. Is your answer correct or not? It is July. No, it isn't. It's March. Yes, it is March.
I can't believe it.
I kind of
can't believe
helped
it.
you and threw you off at the same time. Just that's what I
Yeah.
do. That's what I do. So good
Okay.
job. March 19th, 1923 is her birth date.
Wow.
The original Sakura was July 28th, 1905. Because these games are set
yeah.
in the early 20th century.
I cannot believe that I even had a line of reasoning to get to that month.
When
I'm actually amazed with myself.
when you said that, I was like, really? Mind blown. Is this the reason why? No, it isn't.
Oh,
Apparently
man.
not. Apparently not.
That's funny.
But 2 points and 11 points total, which means you get the official SEGA Lounge seal of approval. Well done, Derek. Good job. Good job. Again, hard-earned points here and hard-earned seal of approval.
Thank you.
Good job. Good
Thank
job.
you. I honestly did not expect that at all. I said for sure I'm going to do so abysmally, but I somehow got 11 and I only needed 10.
Well, see? Very good. Oh, you overachiever, you. Ah.
Well, Mama always said, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Doesn't make any sense, I know.
Yeah, score for the job you want. Or maybe not.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you very much for doing this and playing the game. Good job. Good job getting 11 points.
A
Okay.
lot of fun, actually.
I think it was, at least for me. It always is for me, especially when people do really, really bad. But it wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. I'm kidding. Anyway, let's go quickly or briefly go back to your work here in like translating these games. So you've worked on games for a variety of systems. So I say variety, maybe 3 perhaps: Dreamcast, Saturn, and FM Towns. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why FM Towns, by the way? Is there a special fondness for this system?
It's like one of these things is not like the other, right? An eclectic mix. So the old retro Japanese computers, Sharp X68000, PC98, 88, FM Towns, there's just so many great exclusive, just charming old Japanese games on these machines. And what I really find fascinating about them from like a technical perspective is, they're computers, right? They're not games consoles. However, over the years, certain modifications and like workflows, the way that people actually experience and use the machines, they've almost gone to take a console-like experience. Less so the PC 88 and 98. I don't even own one of those because it's going to be such a rabbit hole for me. I got to wait till I'm like retired or something, and not from this. I mean, from like the workforce.
Yeah.
But the Sharp X68000, FM Towns, those machines I have, and I really love them. And a friend of mine was trying to get me into the Towns forever, and I ended up getting an FM Towns Marty, which is the bastardized, consoleized version with horribly muddy S-video output. But it's just such a neat machine to work for because it's like MS-DOS like operating system with Intel x86 processor executables, and the way that like batch scripts launch the games, the way that you have a CD-ROM and then a floppy disk that need to be used to, it's just so cool. Like I just think it's so cool. And yeah, I just love working on that machine. I actually have in progress a dating sim called Gambler Queen's Cup. That's what it's called.
Yes, that's it. Okay.
That's going to be a long ways away. It's massively long. And maybe not family friendly either, but that's how they did it on the old Japanese machine.
The description. See the world through the
I
eyes
wrote
of
that,
Mr.
by the
Takagi.
way.
Oh, really?
That's not like a translation. I just wrote that based on.
Oh, okay. So he is fixated on horse races and having sports better fixated on horse races, and then he realizes he needs to settle down and find true love.
Yes, of course.
Until that moment, Mr. Takagi had only seen women as useful for one-night stands and little else. In fact, anything that got in the way of his love for the ponies, including women, had been nothing more than a nuisance and something standing in the way of his next big bet. It's now time for him to make his biggest and riskiest gamble yet, choosing the woman of his dreams. I like this.
I missed my calling. I could
Yeah.
have been a back of the box guy.
See?
Right? I could have been.
I could have been using your work to fool people, to trick people in the SEGA Lounge challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. They're just neat machines.
Mhm.
Neat machines. I get a kick out of them. They're very unique, underloved. In fact, there's even a Discord called Underloved Budget Computers where a lot of people meet to talk about some of that stuff.
Mhm. What was the response to this by people in those circles, like the FM Towns games that you worked on?
I mean,
Like-
well, people are really happy to see that because those platforms get so little attention. PC 98 and PC 88 have a lot of translation patches developed for them. X68000, a little bit. FM Towns had 3. One of them was a Lemmings game. Other one is an adventure game. And was it only? Maybe it was only 2. In any event, yeah, I did like a full visual novel adventure mystery game that it took a long time, and then also a fighting game. Yeah, people just couldn't believe like that they're getting English translations on the FM Towns. But actually, the platform is getting a little more popular in some circles because there's certain optical drive emulators that are going to be coming to market that will make at least on the Marty, make it a little more accessible to play. There have always been optical drive emulators on the Marty and also the like the tower and desktop FM Towns called the Doc Brown, which is a great name for the Marty ODE.
Yeah.
And then then you'll love this. The menu software is called Almanac, so it's just so much Back to the Future references.
Yeah.
And then Wizard is the name of the desktop ODE. I don't know where Wizard comes from. Not really Back to the Future related, but yeah. So yeah, it's a small little scene, but it's one of those great examples of like you don't do this work for other people. In some cases, you just do it because you want to do it.
Yeah, but I imagine, or at least it would make sense, that people in those circles are much more appreciative to the work that you do than the ones in like even the Dreamcast and Saturn, because there are many more of those. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And like I could tell you when I got into like FM Towns and stuff, if somebody had released like here's an English language visual novel, text adventure type of any kind, I would have been like, oh my god, I gotta play it. I'd be so excited to have it done. So it's cool that like some people feel that way too. Like, oh, if I could, because as non-Japanese speakers, a lot of these, really Japanese heavy old computers, there's like a certain ceiling to how much enjoyment you can really get out of them. Don't get me wrong, it's a high ceiling, but at some point you're kind of just like, I wish I could understand more of this.
For sure. And like for visual novels and text heavy games, it's like you lose a lot of the enjoyment of this experience. Yeah.
Yeah, almost all of it.
Almost all of it, right? If you can't understand a word, it gets really hard. She's like, what should I do? Okay, A, B.
I think I did something. We're progressing. Look at this.
Yes, look. Game over. Oh, nice. What does that mean? Awesome. And I don't want to keep you very long, but by the way, as you already know, we had a group of people from the community vote a few months ago on certain categories of games from last year. One of those was the most notable fan translation, and Nakaruru, the gift she gave me, won that. Which is not a surprise, because it's a very text-heavy game, visual novel on the Dreamcast, and there was a lot of work put into this. But considering, like, for example, this example and others that we already talked about that are really text-heavy, and the fact that it really does take a long time, you And your team or teams are quite prolific. You managed, to release a lot of these patches, all things considered, right? So,
Yeah, it's I think part of it is the if you have the drive and also and I don't do this in my career at all, but if you have like certain project management qualities to you, like you're good at, and this is not like an ego or toot my own horn kind of thing, but like certain people have leadership qualities, and it's not like it makes you better or worse than anybody if you do or don't have leadership qualities. There's plenty of times I don't want to be in charge of anything, you know, but there are times when somebody
Mhm.
has to step up, otherwise things aren't going to get done. That's
Yeah.
just that's probably that's been true since time immemorial, just
Mhm.
about anything you can think of, someone's got to be in charge. And it's being sure to see it through the end. It's also not starting something if I don't know, like in my head, that I can do it, and don't feel in my heart that like I will do it. Like I have to believe that, otherwise I'm not going to waste anyone's time. I'm not going to start anything that I don't think I'm going to finish.
Mhm.
So that's part of it, and it's also, I guess, my manic ability to just multitask and do things in an almost crack-like state of just craziness. But I got to be careful because I end up kind of getting a little burnt out. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I've been working hard on this stuff. I got to take a break. You know.
Yeah, that's good practice for most things that we do. Like even if it's in any hobby or any like passion project, if you
Mhm.
work on it too much and you like it takes out a lot of you, and obviously you can get burned out. So yeah. And so that leads me to my next question, which is, if let's say there's someone listening to this and realizing, wow, I didn't know there were like people working on translating all these Japanese games, and we would point them in the direction of dreamcastforever.com, for example, for a list of projects ongoing and completed, but they wouldn't know where to start. They're like, I would love to, it's like maybe they're listening to this, so they're like Saturn fans, Dreamcast fans. Where would you advise them to start? Which of your completed projects would be a nice place to start?
Oh, to
Hard
start as in
question.
like what
The
should you
first game
play?
to play, yes, that's what I meant.
Ah, okay, okay. Well, definitely on the Saturn, I wouldn't uh, advise anyone to start with either of the two games I did. I mean, the Rabbit, it's a SNK like fighter, which is really good, but I mean, it's not taking home any cakes. And Jung Rhythm, I think, is like a really,
Play
it's an
that.
incredible experience.
Oh,
It's a really wild experience,
it's cool.
but
It's like
it is cool. But imagine you can play Sakura Wars 1. You can play Grandia. You can play, well, Grandia you could have played on PlayStation, but an inferior version, of course,
of course.
to the Saturn release. But out of the two, if I guess what you're really asking is like if I had to point
Which of
people into
your
something that, yeah, yeah,
games, yeah, which of your patches should people start with?
I think it's I want to say Nakoruru just because I'm most proud of it, but also the barrier to entry with these visual novel games. A lot of people don't have the appetite for it, which is very fair. So I think Cool Tune might be the most easy for anybody to just pick up. Although then again, you have to have rhythm to to progress there. Um, so you know what? I would say start out with, if you want to check out one of the games, start out with Cool Tune because it's very cute. Very game's got a lot of character, great music. It's just charming across the board, and it's very polished. We really spared no expense with that one.
And it has dance, music, laughter, friendship, and adventure.
Yes,
So,
yeah, and
do
you're going to be turning pages apparently.
exactly the world of rhythm comic, whatever that is. Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Obviously, Nakuru, you already told me, is the one that you're like most proud of, like probably because
Yeah.
of the amount of work involved as well and the recognition as well. I hear that game being thrown out every once in a while when people talk about translation projects. So that's really cool to see the
Yeah.
acknowledgement of people. Um, but out of the games that you're working on right now, is there one that gets you really excited to share with the world and for people to play when it's done?
Honestly, I grew up. Well, I'll say when I was, younger, like early and middle, whatever, teenager. Like Love Hina was one of those animes that I really kind of adored, and I had, or I still have them. The Dreamcast versions, and it was another example of one of those ones that I would try to play in some way back then, but it's basically impossible.
Mhm.
And it's another case of like I want to see this game in England. That's actually a case, David. You asked before about games that you kind of just say, "Oh, I guess I could do this," and then ones that you like set out to do. When I first started doing ROM hacking and translation patch development, every so often I would revisit the Love Hina games. Couldn't figure it out. Couldn't figure it out. Couldn't figure it out. And then eventually, I looked at it, and in one afternoon, I had the whole. I was like, okay, this game's like it's mine. I can do anything I want to this game, and that was one of those signs that you're like, oh wow, I'm actually like learning how to do this. um, so I'm really excited about that one. I'll say
Mhm.
it is progressing slowly, just because it's there's a lot of text there, and also it's been a difficult game to get a lot of interest from translators, believe it or not. But I have some really solid people who are doing really well, but they work on other translation projects. So we're doing what we can while we can. But I'll be really excited for that one. Maybe it'll be next year. I hope so.
Okay, awesome. So Love Hina, surprise engagement, right?
Yes, surprise
That's
engagement.
yeah.
Or as they say in the original Japanese, here's a great example of why you don't transliterate: a sudden engagement happening.
Okay.
Rolls right off the tongue, right?
Of course, of course.
Look
You
over
know
there,
what it
honey. There's
is.
a sudden engagement is just happening.
What? They got suddenly engaged? That's
Suddenly.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
yeah, suddenly. Uh, awesome. Yeah. So people should definitely, and as I mentioned before, dreamcastforever.com is where they can like find, first of all, your website, right? Not just
Hmm.
these translations, these patches, like a list of them, but also some of the utilities you worked on, right? If
Hmm.
people really want to use some of these tools, um, which is a good way to find them here. But yeah, thank you again, Derek, for all your hard work and for like being, like you said, in charge of teams of talented people who do this. Really appreciate it. Work, and even if some people don't, we do. We appreciate you guys and hope we can get more from you guys and in the future in some great games. And it's nice to like the going back to Rainbow Cotton, seeing that there are people watching and paying attention, and if there's an opportunity to use that work for like in an official capacity,
Hmm.
like it's nice to see that happening, right?
Yeah, big time. I mean, hey, if I could do this, as a career, you bet I would drop everything and I would do this full time. I would love nothing more, you know. Um, but it's been real privilege and real pleasure being on this
Mhm.
show. I mean, this was a lot of fun. Actually, I really enjoyed recording this, and I just want to make sure that one of the last things I say is, we spent a long time talking about me, and I just want to say none of the projects I've ever worked on, nothing I've ever put out could ever have been done if it weren't for all the fantastic people who've agreed to work alongside of me: the editors, the translators, the graphic artists, my therapist. No, I'm just kidding. um, so, I mean, really, it's like they say, like, stand on the shoulders of giants. I don't know if that's the most appropriate way to describe it, but it's one of those things where, it's teamwork.
Yeah.
There's no way to do it otherwise. And I'm so grateful for those people, and I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. That's great. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that as well. I have one last question. It's always the same, right?
Fire away.
Not sure if you've thought about this or not. If you could add blast processing to anything in the world, what would it be and why?
That's right. I forgot you always ask this question. Oh man. If I could add blast processing.
Blast processing, obviously a very real technology,
Yeah, of course.
very effective. So
It's not a marketing way to describe burst mode on a CPU or
What?
anything.
What?
So I would think I might want to add blast processing to the VMU.
Oh,
And for those listening at home, I'm holding a VMU up to the
Yeah.
camera to show David
yeah.
because there's
yeah.
so many ways to interpret those three letters. I had to make sure I gave him a visual aid.
Yeah, a visual memory unit for
Yes,
the Dreamcast.
exactly.
Yes, yes.
Just imagine if you had blast processing in your VMU, we could realize the dream of the portable MP3 player that also lets you save your games. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
If that's not the future, I don't know what is.
Have you ordered the VM2 or tried it?
Oh yeah, I actually I helped a little bit with like early testing.
Oh,
I've got a
nice.
couple of them.
Okay.
Actually, I have three. I have two like retail units, and I have one prototype. Oh yeah, it's awesome, and especially now with the automatic per game virtual VMU switching.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What a product. Chris is an all-star who developed that.
Does it have blast processing though? Maybe not.
It almost does.
It's the closest thing, right, to blast processing.
Yeah, it shows us what could be if we just, worked a little harder.
Yeah, that's it. So do better next time, Chris.
That's right. He's
So
like, what the
unfair.
hell? What did I
So
do?
unfair.
What did I do to deserve that? Jeez, Derek.
Awesome. Derek, anything you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
All I want to say is guys like you, guys, girls, everywhere, whoever, all the people keeping the legacy of the Sega that we know and love alive, the content creators, the indie game developers, the homebrew developers, patch developers, and just the fans, the people that, make, the ones who actually consume all of this stuff. I just love you all. And I'm so happy to be part of this little corner of the world. And yeah, I mean, just I don't know how else to say it. I just want to give nothing but love, that's all.
Likewise. Back to you. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for doing what you do and keep on trucking. Even if sometimes I know that there's a little bit of like a challenge to keep going and doing what you do, but it's really much appreciated by a lot of people. So
thanks.
Keep going. Thank you, Derek, for coming. And hope we can speak again soon and get another little challenge going or something, maybe.
Yes, I'd like you to have one of the trivia questions be like, name that tune, and it will be Sega ta Sanshiro. That's what I want.
I would redact that.
You would?
Redacted. Redacted. Or maybe something like that. I would find a way to make it hard. I would find a way.
Still get it.
Really? I don't know.
I would still get it.
Next time. Challenge accepted.
Next time. All right. I look forward to it.
Thank you. What a great time this was. My thanks once again to Derek Pascarella for coming on the show. Please go follow him on social media and check out his translation projects. Look for relevant links in our show notes. And that's it for this week's episode of the SEGA Lounge. Next time, we'll focus on a game that was mentioned quite a bit on today's show, but I don't want to spoil anything, so you'll have to tune in next week to find out what it is. Until then, if you enjoyed this episode, remember to share it with friends and keep spreading the good word about the show. I hope you have a wonderful week. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. The SEGA Lounge, hosted by me, KC, and part of Radio Sega's network of live shows and podcasts. Theme song and incidental music by OSC. Got any suggestions? Drop me an email to podcast@thesegalounge.com. Find us at The SEGA Lounge on X, Twitter, and Instagram, at thesegalounge.com on Blue Sky, and be sure to check out our Twitch and YouTube channel for live video content. You can find previous episodes of the show by going to thesegalounge.com, on the TerraPlayer app, and wherever you listen to podcasts. A Mixed On Productions podcast.